Que pasa, mi amigos? It's Nima here, and I'm back for another episode of I Should Have Reviewed This Last Week, but I'm not lucky and I don't get review codes, and they don't like me. Anyway, guys, before I get into Elden Ring, I do want to remind you to please hit that like and subscribe button. I am going broke for you. I am spending so much money, especially in 2022 so far. Every game, every week, it's $60, $120. All I need you guys to do is please hit that subscribe and like button so you don't have to go broke playing games that aren't going to be good for you. Anyway, Elden Ring is a game that it's a difficult game to talk about. Now, it's difficult because there's not much of a story, or there is, but it's one that's best explored on your own, and one that you best learn on your own, as where everyone has a different path. And I'm going to be straight with you guys, I haven't beaten it yet. I'm probably not even halfway through the game yet, just because the thing with this game is the exploration. I don't even think I'm halfway through the game because not because it's difficult, but because I haven't really wanted to. I've had so much fun just exploring and finding different secrets and different items and finding all this lore. And that's why I don't want to ruin the story for you by giving you guys too much. The only thing I will say is that the world that you're in is an in-between world. And you're supposed to be finding parts of a ring that shattered into 4 separate pieces. And once you recover those, you'll become the Elden Lord. That's all I can give you, because that's honestly about all I know. I've only beaten like the first story boss, I think, and I've gotten way further in different areas and just explored a lot and really leveled up my character. And I've had like just a lot of fun doing all sorts of different stuff like that. I do also want to say that I'm not like a Souls type player. The closest I really go in with any of that would be like Death's Door, where I really enjoyed that. But even that game got like on the border at times of being too difficult, and I definitely don't really like the Souls type games. The only one like I beaten was Demon Souls, and even that was so frustrating. And this game is not that. And I think that's why it's so celebrated, because there's people like myself who don't really worship the Souls and the From Software type games that are finding this far more accessible. And part of it is like in Demon Souls, when you die, you lose everything, and then you lose like half your health, and you have to go back and retrieve your souls, and you have to do this whole complete process before you're whole again, and it's a whole thing, and you have to run this gauntlet of like enemies who've already basically killed you before. Now you're supposed to do it like at half health, and it doesn't make sense. As where with Elden Ring, for one, there are a ton of like autosave spots and different places where you can just like rest and replenish your health and level up and do some stuff like that. And on top of that, when you die, you only lose your money. Now, your money is important in the game, don't get me wrong, but it's not as soul-crushing. It's not as, I don't know, the like daunting task of having to retrieve this money, namely because you have those save spots and you don't lose like half of your health. And there's so much more into the game as far as like, in, like, say, Demon Souls or Dark Souls, you had this one path you had to take, and these one enemies that you also had to confront. As for this, like, you can go and farm some weaker enemies if you want and collect more money, or you can just go on a completely different path and like, go find another boss or another dungeon or another mini dungeon or find loot. Like, you can literally just go do whatever you want. And it's not, like I said, like, it's not soul-crushing to die. In fact, I don't know. I don't get that angry when I die in this game. It's not such a big deal. I kind of laugh about it a lot of times. And that's not my experience with the other games. And again, I think it's because those games, they trapped you in a world that you couldn't get out of. And maybe not a road, I should say, but a path that you couldn't escape. And whatever was in that path, you had to deal with. And sometimes you weren't ready for it. As where this gives you a ton of options. I also really like the ability to level up and to find equipment and to create your own build. And I understand that those were there in old Souls games, but they were just so much more difficult to obtain. And again, a lot of that is the whole dying mechanic. But this game does seem to have like the opportunity for growth. And for somebody like me to kind of explore the game and find the love of the Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and makes me think like, okay, maybe if I get through this game, I might go back and play like Dark Souls 3 and 2 and just kind of see what those are like. It opens that world up entirely. Now, I also happen to like a lot of the different classes that you can choose and kind of playing around back and forth. Now, right now, I'm using the samurai. I think like it's more like dexterity and strength build. But I did have a magic user, and that was a lot of fun as well. I could just see like so many different possibilities and see why people want to keep playing this game, and for one, just the exploration in general. You never know what you're going to run into, and there's a ton of things, like, whether it be like Warm Face, and Warm Face is creepy, and I accidentally ran into him. He's like this giant, like, human with a warm face, like, it's creepy. Giant bears you just find out of nowhere, all sorts of stuff like that. But you also have the idea of going back through this game later with a different build, and working on your build. Now, the only thing I don't know is if weapons and accessories, like, pass through different games. I don't know. I don't think they do. I think that, like, kind of like that Diablo mechanic, that would be kind of cool. So you could have, like, multiple builds going at once. Again, I'm not sure if you can or not. I haven't really tried. I've just been having so much fun with my main character right now. But I do think, like, if there's that opportunity, that would be a lot of fun. The other thing about this game is, even though it's difficult and daunting and kind of scary at times, you can also, like, have your friends join you. And that has been a lot of fun as well, deciding to, like, go on hunts with your friends. It's almost like a better graphic version, bigger, more daunting, I keep using the word daunting, version, though, of, like, Monster Hunter. And, like, that's really cool to have that on the PlayStation as well. And that's kind of how, like, me and my friends have kind of treated it, where we're like, okay, let's work together to go kill this one guy, or to, get this, like, the dragon or something. Let's work together and do it. And so we kind of treat it almost like a hunt. And then we'll just go around and explore and have fun, much like you would, like, in a Diablo-style game, just going through dungeons and killing enemies and finding loot and finding secrets and then ultimately leveling up. This game is a lot of fun. But here's the thing. I've heard so many people talk about how, like, this is the greatest game ever. And it's not. Alright? Like, it's good. It's very good. It's, like, excellent good. Like, 9 out of 10, but it's not, like, the best. And there's, multiple reasons for that, like, and part of it is still a Souls game. It's still punishing, it's still brutal, and it's still, at times, kind of makes you want to walk away from it for a while, take a break. Not to mention, there isn't any real dialogue. I mean, there is some, but it's very far and few between. Like, if you're a very narrative-driven gamer, this game is not going to give you much. And what it does give you, you're going to have to work for and earn, just like everything else in this game, which is great for some people, but some people really play games just to relax, and this is not one of those type of games. You can get easily lost in the world, and it does give you that, like, escapability, but it's definitely not relaxing. As well as, like, there's just other issues, like the controls sometimes are a little sloppy. Especially when it comes to, like, focusing in on an enemy. I have noticed that to, like, sometimes it'll focus in on the wrong enemy. Like, literally, the one standing in front of me who I'm trying to face, my guy will look at the other person. I don't know why that happens. As well as, like, I think this game needs to do a better job of explaining many of the systems to you. Like, you're leveling, what does dexterity actually do? What does intelligence actually do? And yeah, you could look into it and find out, but for the average gamer, especially if they're going to open that door to accessibility, you should also kind of teach the newcomers what a lot of these things mean and how to use some of the mechanics as well. Like, I got a spirit for a while and I had no idea how to use it, and it took me for quite a while till I discovered, I have to wait till the symbol pops up. Like, I didn't know that. There's just things like that. Like, I think they could do a better job explaining the game. But I do hope that they continue making DLC for it and they continue expanding the game. And, I'm gonna go back and play more Elden Ring because I am addicted to the game. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Have a great day.